Well, hello, and welcome again to the 2012fad.com. I will be your host for this evening, and my name is Charlie Bluehawk. Last night we talked about limitations of the human mind and how, well, in business it gets down to sort of a pyramid-shaped diagram. You need three things in good business. You need a plan, you need the right people at the right place at the right time, and you need a small amount of operating capital. It's called the cost of doing business. If any of those three things is missing, then you're going to have very, very, very severe problems like most corporations have today, which is why for the last 25 years I've gone into corporations and tried to help them sort out these things. And the solutions are pretty simple, except for the having the right people in the right place at the right time. You have to, at that point, deal with personal relationships, politics, and the right person in the right place at the right time has a lot to do with the title, Limitations of the Human Mind. If you have, for example, someplace, somewhere in the world, at one of your offices somewhere, and you need her to sign forms, she won't do it for whatever reason. She just won't bring herself to sign the forms, which all it requires is a signature and a date, and you're done. For some reason, she can't do it. She's been burned by signing contracts before, or she's had her signature stolen by other people who used her signature on other contracts. Now she's just scared. Perfectly reasonable. The problem is, to finish that contract, that contractual agreement, the contract has to be signed. Somebody's going to sign it. So instead of spending $0, this lady, wherever she is in the world, to sign the contract and be done with it, she has to ship it to you by FedEx, which costs you $200–300, just to get your signature on it and send it back. So that's what we call the cost of doing business. To make $1,000, you have to spend $200–300. You just factor that into your profit margin and you learn to live with it. You suck it up. Limitations of the human mind also come along with the concept of permission to speak. Human beings, for some reason, need other people to tell them when it's okay to talk about something that's important. Your boss is molesting you, your president is robbing you, your corporations are raping you, your bankers have stolen all the money in the country. And yet you don't have the right to talk about that because no one has given you permission to speak. And as I told you last night, for whatever value there is in it, you have my permission to speak, which is just another way of saying, what do you think? And I've seen this over and over and over again. Horrible atrocities are committed, either in business or personal life or political life, and nobody will talk about it because no one has given you the right to say, hey, you can't do that, or hey, you're doing that and I can see you. Which gets us back to, again, limitations of the human mind. My favorite phrase of all time: I listen to what you say, I watch what you do. And you can clear a room in moments just with that statement. In a room full of politicians, for example. Get up, it's your turn to have the floor, you're in front of the city council, you're in front of the board of directors, you say, hey, you know what? I listen to what you all say, and then watch what you all do, and then just sit down. That meeting will end almost immediately. Because now, not only have you told these criminals, these crooks, these liars, what your view of life is, you've given permission to speak to others in the room. Not only have you given them something to think about, you've given them a course of action which they may never have ever considered before. Somehow all this ties together, but it's up to you. It's your decision. Don't wait for someone else to make the world a better place. It's up to you. There is no we, it's I. I will do something now. I will make my life better. I will take care of my family. I will take care of my city. I will take care of my country. If others want to help, great. This is the road I'm on. You can walk with me. But really, if you're going to carry a lot of luggage down this road, well, you have to carry your own luggage. Euphemistically speaking, don't drag your personal problems into this. If you want to solve a problem, solve it. No one else is going to do it for you. And so tonight I thought we would chat about the joy of hatred. And what motivates people to hate? I know in black magic satanic ritual, hatred is a choice. It's a religious choice, religious freedom. You have a choice. Whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe in the devil or not, they're bound together by this really, 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 really simple concept, free will. Now, the devil, quote unquote, will try to trick you. But if you don't give the devil permission to hurt you, she can't. Our politicians are all black magic satanic practitioners. They claim to be Christians, but in their version of Christianity, it's simply the worship of Satan, the devil, Lucifer. Evil. Again, it doesn't matter if you and I believe in God. It doesn't matter if you and I believe in Satan, the devil. Our masters do. Our masters today are only concerned about power. But they need servants, which is where what I call the Mandarin class comes in. This is the Bush family, the Cheney family, the Clintons, the Ben Bernankes of the world. And their only interest is money. And they believe in their very simplistic mental processes that a lot of money will give them power. It won't. When the time comes, when our masters go into their underground cities, or, God forbid, they go, off-world, their servants, the Mandarin class, the bankers that we know, the politicians that we know, are all going to be left behind to die with us. But it's the joy of hatred which really separates the masters from their servants. Our masters, they don't have souls. They don't. I mean, nobody with a soul can do what these creatures are doing. In the United States today, and today is July 31st, 2011, and I apologize that this video file says, April, May. This actually says May 5th, 2011. I apologize for that. I'm now 3 months behind. In my arrogance when I started this, I really believed I'd have financial support at some point so I could do this on a daily basis. And of course, that was immensely arrogant of me. So now I'm 3 months behind because lack of money. Today, July 31st, 2011, out of 300 million people in the United States, give or take, there's 58% unemployment. That's more than half of the entire population of the United States is out of a job. Now, it's a depression, worse than the one in 1929, which was also a staged event, which was also designed to rob us of our rights. And in this case, money being our rights, to live, to have a home, to feed ourselves, to take care of our family, our pets, our parents. That's robbing us of our rights. To me, that's a grotesque act of war. But nobody with a soul could do that to another living person and enjoy themselves. I'm sorry, that's just my definition. You can't commit atrocities against innocent people and sleep at night and have a soul. You can't. So whether any of the stories about our masters are true, that they're lizard people who are a plague on this part of the galaxy, whether they're Satan worshippers, human, who descended from Babylonian slave traders, it doesn't matter what they are. What matters is what they do. And to me, these are the act of the soulless, which, getting back to Christian mythology, means that they're fallen angels, they're demons. Doesn't matter. Again, does not matter if you believe in God. Doesn't matter if you believe in Satan. Our masters do. And they follow this, and they live this life of hatred. And from what I've seen, they have no souls. You can't have a soul and do this. But we'll just say that makes them a separate class of people and leave it at that. But their servants, the Mandarin class, are definitely human beings. The Bushes, the Clintons, Condoleezza Rice, Ben Bernanke, Obama. These are human beings. Can't really comment on the value of their souls, but I'm guessing they have them. So how could anyone take joy in hatred of your own kind, of any living thing for that matter? These people are deliberately poisoning the planet. There's a garbage dump in the middle of the Pacific Ocean of nothing but plastic and refuge that they just dump into the ocean. There's a dead zone in the Pacific Ocean that's apparently thousands and thousands of miles across. That's the joy of hatred. How could any living thing do that to their own home? And whether these creatures have souls or not, at that point is immaterial. This is where they live. Now, true, they do have their mega cities that they've been building for decades. Palaces in the surface of the earth, and they're going to go down there, they believe, when the event, whether you believe the event is a dead brown dwarf star coming into our solar system, as it does every 32,000 years, passes between us and the sun, and flips us end for end. Doesn't matter. It was just asteroid debris that's going to impact the South Pole, melt all the ice, and either increase the sea levels of our world by 300 feet gradually, or it causes a wave 5,000 feet tall, moving at the speed of sound, that circumnavigates the Earth. Either way, it's going to be a bad day. So our masters and their servants, the Mandarin class, the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Ben Bernankes, the Obamas, they actually believe that they have a place in these underground cities when the event occurs. No, I don't think so. But it's the joy of hatred that causes human beings to commit acts of atrocities, not just against their own people, but against their own world. I mean, why would you, let's say for the sake of argument, that these people have the ability to travel between worlds? Which is, I mean, if you go on the web and do a search on UFO technology or UFO blueprints or, God forbid, UFO patents, the United States Patent Office has several hundred patents on how to build your own flying saucer. Drive systems, propulsions, gravity, everything. That's kind of weird. And the universe is electric. That's quite apparent. Look at the surface of Mars. You can see the lightning strikes on Mars. Because when the dead brown dwarf star, which has 3 planets of its own, passes every 32,000 years between the Earth and the Sun, there's going to be an electrical discharge. A solar system is the same design as an atom. It's got a star in the middle, which has no charge, and it's got planets rotating around it, which do have a charge, positive and negative charges. An atom has that. A solar system has that. It's the same design. So as the dead brown dwarf star passes between the Earth and the Sun, there's going to be electrical discharge, what you and I call lightning. But it's going to be lightning like you and I have never seen before. Almost every one that I've ever seen, folk tales, ancient legends from all over this planet, there's a time when the Earth changes and everybody has to hide in a cave because if you go outside, there's so much lightning that the Earth is on fire. What I think of as dry cleaning. After the event, we'll have a nice, clean, freshly pressed and clean planet. But let's say for the sake of argument, just for the heck of it, that our masters in the Mandarin class know how to travel through space. They know about the stargates. And you can either get into a ship and travel to other worlds, or you can walk through a stargate, and go to another world. Let's just say for the sake of argument. If you went to another world, would your first instinct be to be amazed and in wonder and in joy of the life you find? Or would your first instinct be to turn it into an open sewer? So now our masters have turned the earth into an open sewer. And our masters are completely useless people. Well, their servants, the mandarins, are also useless people we've talked about before, where, none of these people have ever made a pot of coffee in their whole life. None of these people know how to drive a car. None of these people have ever stood in line at the ATM machine. None of these people have run down to the Target and bought themselves a new pair of underwear. Not one of these people have ever cooked an egg. They're parasites. And so we're listening to these people, and again we use that phrase in a generic term, who are filled with nothing but the joy of hatred. And we're just standing around while they turn the earth into a sewer, an open toilet, where you and I live. And we don't say anything? Permission to speak. What do you think? I listen to what you say. I watch what you do. The joy of hatred. I've seen this so many times, and please forgive me for saying it this way, but the women in the United States have a joy of hatred, which I finally couldn't stand anymore, and I fled. And then I got to New Zealand, where I thought for 6 years I was told by an advertising campaign, as many of us were, that it was a place looking forward to the future, very forward-thinking, very highly educated, very welcoming, very friendly. And I got there and discovered that there were 22 women to every man in the country. That's probably a tremendous exaggeration, but that's the local urban myth. And from what I could tell, it was very accurate. I actually found women in New Zealand even more hateful. The joy of hatred in women in New Zealand was beyond anything I thought was possible. And I come from Hollywood, for goodness sake, where I thought I'd seen every form of hatred possible. I then fled New Zealand for Europe, where again I was told I was welcome and wanted. I got to stop listening to people. And the first women I encountered were even worse than the women in Hollywood. They were even worse than the women in New Zealand. The joy of hatred in these women was astonishing. They raped the soul out of my body on a nightly basis, and they did it with just looks of joy in their faces, just the happiness of hurting me. It's the joy of hatred. I don't understand it. Thankfully, they got tired of me and threw me away and left me to die, which seems to be another part of the equation. I started meeting real people in Europe. What a blessing. Again, it's that farther you get away from people who speak English, the more human people become. But I've seen the joy and hatred in my work. I've seen the joy of hatred in corporations where people threaten or abuse or have sex with somebody in charge to get a very important job. And then they don't know how to do their job. Their main concern is hurting people. I still remember this woman I guess I was dating, it's hard to tell, back in the States. Her whole goal in life was hurting people, and she told me this. Her goal in life, she was studying to be a psychologist, and I asked her why, and she says she wanted to learn how to hurt people more effectively. She wasn't kidding. And she was actually the first person I ever said my favorite phrase in the world to. I listen to what you say, and I watch what you do. Because I was trying to figure out how I was ever going to get rid of her or be free of her. She actually turned white, ran away, and never saw her again. What is the joy of hatred? Why is there joy in hurting or destroying? I have no idea. Because the 98% of our race seems to enjoy it immensely, and the last 2% I wonder about us sometimes too. But again, it really is up to you. It starts with I. I will do something today. I will make a difference. I will speak up. I will not knuckle under. Or I will run away. I finally ran away because I couldn't find anybody to stand with me. I ran away from the States because I knew what was happening there. I ran away from New Zealand because, Lord, I had no choice. I left everything in the world behind that I loved, including my cats. Luckily, they all had nice homes with good families. But I escaped New Zealand with 2 suitcases and my soul. There's a level of hatred in it, and if there are alien life forms on this planet and they are in control of it, they're in control of New Zealand. It's a wonderful experiment in social engineering because New Zealand is a non-human culture. It's the future of the United States, if the United States had a future, which at this point it does not. The joy of hatred. It's up to you. Say something if you want. Speak up if you want. Give yourself permission to say, this is wrong, and no, I won't. But it's all up to you. I'll leave you with my closing phrase, a toast at a wedding, a wish for a friend or a beloved stranger. May you live as long as you wish. May you love as long as you live. For the 2012fad.com, this is Charlie Blue Hawk. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel fighting his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race, their black magic, captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down and to kill their god, their Satan.